Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Pro and Expert Division with various win for the Metropolitan 9-hole cup here in Golf Clash the game. Just par 4s and par 5s for this 9-hole cup, so this is going to be very exciting. Make sure that you do hit the thumbs up button here on the video. Also, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. For those of you that are looking to improve your game even more, make sure to scan the QR code here on the screen, or you go directly through the link patreon.com/golfclashtommy. You can find in the description down below and sign up for any of our guides. You can start as low as $1.50. Make sure to look at the info box and you can find the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also what ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind though that they are all suggestions and you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there is always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number 1. Hole number 1 is an old win since the Easter tournament, and it works as equally well now. This is the option, what can I say, this is an aggressive option where you play with a P5 ball, either a wind 1 or a wind 0. So if you want to go full free to play here, playing Berserker, do that. It's up to you. I like to play with the wind 0 to give myself a slower needle, which helped me being more consistent. Start at the top of plus 25, adjust max plus 10 P5, and then we're going to push up. And we're pushing up with a POC 7. We're pushing up 8 rings after the adjustment. And once we have done that, we're using 5.8 top spin and 1 left spin. And as you will notice, you can still play with an Apocalypse level 4 plus here if you would like. Max curl to the right and try to hit perfect. Single greats, I mean greats overall when it comes to sendits like this is definitely going to be a good possibility for you to get yourself around the green. Now being a little bit unlucky, I'm clipping the rough here, but still having a short wedge. The wedge from this direction plays with an EB school plus 30 sorry, it's placed EV School plus 20, obviously, as you see in the info box there. P5 numbers. Again, you can play with a Berserker if you want to keep it completely free to play. Get the full guides for hole and number 1 and the rest of the holes in this playthrough by scanning the QR code here at the top, or you go to patreon.com/golfclashtommy and sign up for any of our guides. You get immediate access to expert and master qualifying round guide when you sign up. For hole number 2 in the Metropolitan 9-hole cup, we are going to play a par 5 of the Parc de Paris. Here we are going to push the drive hard, as we would like to have a power 5 ball here off tee. This to simplify the second shot immensely. We do want to go with max overpower here. Again, there is loads of room on that fairway that we are looking to aim. So when we do bounce here on the fairway, we want to kick the ball as far left possible without rolling into the rough on the top. You can, if you do have a lot of topspin on your driver, back up and play before the rough in the sand and simplify it that way. That's kind of up to you what you want to do. Now, the second shot, we're playing into a very nice funnel at the back of the green. And that is something we catch with all the backspin and half a right spin. And now this is the tricky part. It's the offset that is the tricky part here. Looking to have, in that case, the second bounce in the center of that dark green square. So try to find a clear reference. And here in the end, I'm moving up a little bit, but the point with having a clear reference is still super duper important. Now, elevation will fluctuate here, because if we do have a right to left wind or a left to right wind, that's going to give a different type of effect, as you're either going to adjust to a lower point or you're going to adjust to a higher point. So in the end, a perfect ball it is, and we get the ball back and catch the funnel, and we're dropping it nicely for an albatross. If we do have a crosswind or a tailwind, this is going to be like hole 1. We're going to actually be able to ping this ball fairly easy towards the green. There is two ways of doing that though. One is that you obviously start with using all the topspin that you can. This is for a big boy club, or if you have the possibility to play with a topspin boost ball. Using all the topspin and all the left spin that I can. And as I do have headwind here, my intention is to actually clip the rough way left, and to clip that rough, roll out, have an open shot with my endbringer. But if I would be having a crosswind or a tailwind, what I would do is to try to do a double bounce underneath the tree that is just aligned with the pin. And the reason I believe that's going to, if so, be a better play is due to the fact that we have downhill just after the tree, which means that it can roll down towards the pin and technically become a hole-in-one. But it has to be a crosswind or a tailwind, otherwise it will be too difficult having to go with max overpower and hope that you're lucky to roll out. If you end up with a wedge, which is very possible, then it's obviously better to be left of the tree instead of just before the tree. Because if you're not rolling through the rough trying to play that route, I mean, then it's game over getting the eagle, because you're going to have to just play yourself to the side and try to avoid the trees. Now, you're playing it no spin with 20% elevation and with the power ball that you're using, or you play it minus a 35% elevation P4 numbers if you're playing with the max topspin method. And that's the max topspin method is only for endbringer 7 and endbringer 8. So with option number 1 on hole number 8, we go aggressive, and I wanted to show you that approach. If you do feel that the conservative side of things is more towards you, then obviously pay close attention to option number 2 that comes right now. For hole number 9, we're gonna play down on the right hand side. If we do have a headwind in any form, we're gonna play with the rock. If we do have a crosswind or a tailwind, I would recommend to play with the quarterback instead. And we're gonna use all the side spin here with our kingmaker and using 4 bars of topspin. The goal here is to get the ball to be as far down the fairway possible, because that will allow us to attack the pin on the second shot in a positive way. Adjust no elevation, maximum distance number, and then we're gonna apply curl to the right, which is gonna be 1 to 1.5 ball depending on what wind direction we do have. And if we do have a wind right to left, I would recommend to use a little bit more, due to that the wind will push the ball more left than what we want to. And you can see here we bounce down very nicely on the fairway, and now we are to around 350 yards. We want to be around 350 to 360 to attack the pin in a nice way with our sniper on the second shot. So now we're gonna attack the pin here with our sniper using 1 topspin ball guideline to be short of hole. Have in mind that this green is a bit deceiving, and what I mean with that is that it comes in hotter than what it shows us to do. So you often have to leave the ball guideline way shorter than what it normally needs, and that has always been a difficult part for me, because I'm so trained on where I should be putting my ball guideline to be the best possible rollout with the specific clubs, but this hole definitely changes that big time. 10% elevation, then whatever slider you deem it would be. It could be all from 75% to 100% of your club. A great ball to the left here is obviously not what we want, and you will notice here that a great to the left is gonna miss on the left as well, with a perfect ball gonna be very close for a drop, estimated based on how much a great left there missed. But hole number 9, tough one to end up with an albatross on, but definitely makeable. Take your game to the next level with our Ultimate Tournament text guides. We are offering, as always, Expert and Master Division for the 9-hole Cup. Signing up for any of those packages that include the 9-hole Cup with us give you access to both of the divisions. You get access to the full experience with just not the text guide, but also being able to see all the shots in action, voiceovers on those on the majority of those shots, but also access to our Telegram feature, where you can ask questions if something didn't go as you wanted, or if you just have questions in general on how to improve your game. We have done this for so long, we know how to make you a better player. So make sure to scan the QR code here on the screen, or go directly to patreon.com/golf-tommy. And if you're looking for something else than just tournament guides, you can find checkpoint challenge guides and tour play guides there as well. For hole number 5 in the Metropolitan 9-hole cup, which is also hole number 1 of the Parc de Paris. Here we do want to play with the driver that gives us the most power. On this account, it is an extra mile level 8, whereof Apocalypse is definitely one to trio if you do have Apoc 5+. Using a power 5 ball here as simplifying the drive, having this possibility to aim with the second bounce into the rough. If you do not have that possibility, sorry, if you don't have the possibility to play with a P5 ball, you can always use a P3 or P4 ball, but to then use some overpower instead. Inner wall left curl after the adjustment of max plus 10. And the idea here is to hit the fairway into the rough and then roll out for either a short iron or a wedge. When you do play with a P5 ball, you can then somewhat expect yourself to be in a wedge or into a dunk situation. Here you have to obviously decide what you want to do. If you want to play the wedge, you play it EB School plus 20 as a base. If you do want to play this one as the thorn, then we're going to play that one no elevation, and we're going to play that one at true club distance. And here you can see me going for a dunk, and the important part with the dunk is that you aim at the back end of the cup with the blue small arrows. And the reason for that is if you aim at the front end or center, it's very easy that you do fall short and then it bounces on the fairway up onto the pin, and you're still going to be safe, but you will lose the eagle. You can see here it comes in and dropping dead center for the eagle on hole 5 with the thorn. So for hole number 9, here unfortunately I got headwind many times in practice as well, and eventually I just had to go for it. I want to play with a ball that do have wind resistance 3 or better. I'm playing the drive plus 15% elevation, and obviously when we are at max club, we're playing at max distance numbers. 5.8 topspin, 3 left spin. If you have more topspin, use that because that will minimize the amount of overpower you have to play. If we do have a straight tailwind, there might be a way with topspin boost balls to bounce over the water and get ourselves to green. Unexplored because I never had that angle, but something to have in mind. Second shot with our sniper is going to be a good chance. It's going to be a long distance shot, and those type of shots are always going to be difficult to drop consistently. There is a rough bump possibility there as well, but you need a lot of topspin and you have to play very close to the rough line, so it's not really something that I prefer here at a start, but I do feel that the bounce up shot here is most definitely going to be a good chance for us. True club distance, 5% elevation. This is a total guess that I'm doing here in the video. Obviously in a tournament situation, I'm using either a landing position check, frame check, bunker check, you know, pin check, whatever, to get ourselves a much better reference on the approach. A perfect ball it is. The ball comes in with a lovely speed, but unfortunately just a little bit to the right here. But again, I do believe that hole 9 is a solid chance for an albatross, and I would say that I'm very keen to see if we do have a tailwind, if we can smash a special ball down towards the green area for a simple alba. Hole number 4, here we start with the rock at complete max distance. A white ring to the right by the rough line. And then we're going to play with 4.3 topspin. We're going to make an adjustment that is max plus 20 power 3 ball settings. Once we have adjusted, we shall with rock 8 push up 1 yard. Rock 7, we push up 7 yards just to compensate. Then you might think, why push up 8 yards with rock 7 and not 6 as we technically should if we're looking in the relation to power from rock 9 to rock 7, is because we want to compensate for the slightly lesser topspin that we do have on rock level 7 compared to rock level 8 and 9. Ball will bounce on the fairway into the rough and roll out nicely on the fairway island, and now we're going to have a lovely little rough bump on the second shot. Second shot is with Goliath. The reason for the Goliath is because that's a club that generally is in a high level for players that play in Master. Sure, you can use the B52 as well, as it has the same power, but I like to avoid the Grizzly due to the fact that it has lesser power. Now, we're adding the spins, which is half a bar of backspin, 3 left spin, moving the ball guideline. So if you back up the tape a little bit, you can see that I was waiting for the part where the ball guideline is showing rolling down like that past the pin, and also being just left of the pin. The reason I want that spot is because I don't want to come in short. I want to have speed enough to roll. And as we're pulling down into the bunker, what we're doing there is that we are losing distance the more we pull down into the bunker. So we need to compensate that, and that's what I'm doing with the ball guideline. Using our landing position here, +5 is our base, 88% slider, no elevation, P3 numbers, and we're adding or subtracting 0.1 for every 2 yards. Ball bounces into the rough, and I'm dropping this one lovely for an eagle on hole number 4. Get the full guide for hole number 4 and all the other holes here in this playthrough by scanning the QR code here at the top, or go directly to patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Once you do sign up, you get immediate access to the expert qualifying round guide and also the master qualifying round guide, because anything that we do for the 9-hole cups are included in our 9-hole cup packages. So find your package and sign up directly. For hole number 8 of the Metropolitan 9-hole cup, which is hole number 7 of the Parc de Paris. If you do have the club and the ball for it, which is a driver with a lot of power and also a ball with a lot of power, then we're going to go directly over the rough and sand/water and bounce there to get the ball to green directly. If we don't have that possibility, we're going to lay up, and here we're going to play a drive with our quarterback, this to allow us for a good accuracy and a good ball guideline. This will help us, even if we do hit great, to still be safely on the fairway. Adjust, and once you have adjusted, you're going to center the ball and hit perfect to get the ball down the fairway. I'm using a katana ball here, and this as with a P3 ball, otherwise I'm not really gaining any advantage for doing so, and therefore a P2 ball is perfect to just use that instead, and we're saving our power 3 balls. Second shot, we're playing with the long iron that gives us the best ball guideline in my opinion. It's either B52 level 7+, or it's a Grizzly level 7+. Now you can either decide to go behind the pin and roll back, there is a little sticky spot there, or you attack it directly. And I would personally go, now I'm going at it straight up, but I would personally move a little bit more right and use a little left spin to get into that sticky spot behind the pin. Because if there is a sticky spot, and that's something we have learned over the years, that then we're going to try to catch it. So adjust 10% elevation through club distance. Elevation here is very floating, and it all depends on what type of extra features that you have with your adjustment, in terms of like, what type of spins are you using, etc. Perfect ball it is. Bounce on the fairway over the rough and sand, and it gets right at pin for the eagle, and we move on. Hole number 3. This is option number 1 in our guide, the more aggressive option that actually gives us a proper look at the albatross. We're looking to have the blue ring to be by the rough line with a POC 7 at max P5 line, and now we're looking at the wind angles while we are adjusting, because that's important. That's going to determine what amount of rings we're going to push up. Adjust its max +10 P5. We're pushing up with a POC 7 here with 3 rings in this angle. Max topspin, and we're using 2 left spin, and we're gonna use half a ball of left curl. It might look strange that we're using left spin and left curl when the pin stands more right, but the reason for it is that we do want to bounce on the fairway into the rough and roll out. And if we're coming too far to the right, we won't be able to do that, then it will clip the rough twice and we might stay in the rough. And that is obviously with using all the topspin we were doing here. Sure, for those of you playing with Apocalypse level 5 or 4, can maybe use topspin boost. It's not tested, but that's just an idea that I do have that might be worth exploring if you do want to play aggressive. On the second shot, it's important that you have the B52 or the Goliath equipped, because we want to have all the power it has to be able to do a fringe check, where the fringe meets the green behind the pin. Now, and we're going to apply 3.5 bar topspin, and we're going to look to have the tip of the ball guideline 2 green squares short of pin, because if we're having it closer to hold, we're gonna come in too hot and we're going to bounce out. 30% elevation, and we're gonna use with the back fringe check as a reference. Then we do a +4 as our base, which is 62% slider with then the 30% elevation, and then we're adding and subtracting 0.1 for every yard. And the reason we're using 0.1 for every yard this time is due to the high elevation that we're using. Center the ball and hit perfect, and this will actually be a pretty proper chance for an albatross from distance. Hole number 3 is definitely not the easiest one. The drive is definitely key. Be good doing the drive, and then you will have a proper shot. Even if you mess it up when it comes to the drive and you end up into the rough, it's a super simple save from there, so there is not really any risk towards that. However though, if you don't have the club or the ball, you can always use option number 2 that we do have in the guide. So for the full guide for hole number 3, option 1 and option 2, scan the QR code here at the top or go to patreon.com/golfclashtommy. You get immediate access when you sign up for the expert division qualifying round guide and also the master division qualifying round guide. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Pro and Expert Division for the Metropolitan 9-hole Cup here in Golf Clash the game. If you do want to become a better player, make sure to sign up for our premium guide. Start as low as $1.50, and you do that by scanning the QR code, or you go directly to patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Link is in the description down below. Thank you so much everybody for watching, and I wish you the best of luck in your Golf Clash game.